Welcome back again. Yet another interesting session, AI and creativity. Here, guess who we have here? The tech whisperer, Mr. Jaspreet Bindra is here. Over to you, Mr. Jaspreet Bindra.
Hey, thank you very much. Thanks, audience, for being patient and waiting. And I know it's lunchtime. We don't in this scenario we don't have to file out and stand in queues for lunch, but I guess we'll still possibly grab lunch wherever we are. So what I'm going to do over the next 15-20 minutes is actually kind of move a little beyond, probably a little different from probably the things that you have heard so far. And it's going to be on this often asked question about, can AI be creative? Before I do that, quick introduction. It's in front of you, so I'm not going to talk about myself, which incidentally is my favorite topic. But this book, and then I'm independent now. I work with a bunch of companies. I write, I speak, I teach. I was with the Mahindra Group as the CDO. I was at Microsoft before that, and I'm invested in a few AI and non-AI companies. So you can look me up in various social forums for more about me. Why don't we jump straight to the topic? So I'm not going to spend time talking about AI. That's something which you've been doing since the morning. There are just these couple of quotes which I just wanted to put in front of you about what AI is. John McCarthy, who was one of the fathers of AI, had probably the best and the most ominous quote in a sense, where he said that it's the branch of computer science concerned with making computers behave like humans. And then the technical assistant to Satya Nadella kind of came and said that, look, when it's written in R, it's probably analytics. When it's in Python, it's machine learning. And when it's in PowerPoint, it's in AI. And so, many times AI is still at, that stage where we talk a lot about it, but actually don't do much of it. And that's why the PowerPoint reference. So, as I said, we are going to be talking about whether AI can be creative. I wish I had more time to kind of explore this topic, so I might not give you a definitive answer, but let's kind of explore what creativity is. One of the best definitions of creativity is something which I saw. It's unascribed. We don't know who said it, but creativity, the person said, is a part of human nature. It can only be untaught. It cannot be taught. And that's kind of, it's an anachronism, especially when we think about AI and machine learning. And there's this little joke about machine learning, which I've put there. AI, and as you have seen even in the talk before, has to be taught. So systems need to be taught literally. And it's a laborious kind of process so as to make AI happen. And on the other hand, AI is something which, creativity is something which can only be untaught. So how do we kind of, reconcile these two opposing positions? And that's why I wanted to explore as we go forward. Look, so what is creativity? While it can be untaught, etc., there are different ways you can think of creativity. You can think of creativity as painting, or as music, or as playing games, or maybe as, speaking or debating, and finally, maybe writing. Okay, so now if these are the 5 manifestations of human creativity, and there are others too, but if these are the 5 ones which we explore right now, can AI do this? So let's kind of take them one by one. And what you see here, the various pictures that you see, are actually paintings by this famous Dutch artist, which you might have heard of, called Rembrandt. And these are actual Rembrandt paintings. And then, there was this big project which Microsoft Labs and a couple of other companies did to see that, look, can AI create the next Rembrandt? And Marcus du Sautoy, who I'm going to be quoting very often in this talk, who's one of my AI and creativity gurus, he's a professor at Oxford, also talked about the fact that, look, is there a way that we can make AI creative? Does creativity, like this painting, have certain patterns which can be used to make AI draw, in a sense, the next Rembrandt? And what you see here, and what you can go explore, since you're all on your PCs if you want, is something called nextrembrandt.com. And this actually is a painting which got created by this trained AI, and it created the next Rembrandt 400 years after Rembrandt was actually dead. And this fooled a lot of people. Not only was it painted in a Rembrandt style, and the site gives you how, everything was analyzed as to what kind of people Rembrandt painted, which side did those people look, left or right, the size of their mustache, etc., etc., and it kind of created the perfect Rembrandt out of that. And Rembrandt used to have a way of painting, a pastiche way of painting, where he would have like a layers of paints and create a third dimension, and the AI used 3D printing to even do that. So painting. The next thing is about whether AI can do music. Now, I'm not sure whether Airmeet as a platform will allow me to show you this, to kind of play this for you, but I'm going to play it for a little bit. And even if you don't kind of hear the words, you will probably. That's gotta sound so good, like something new. It turns me on. Good day, sunshine in the backseat. God, I wish that room could never stop. Down on the ground. So I'm not sure whether you could hear that, frankly, but even if you couldn't, you could have seen the words below. And if you could have heard it, this actually was a song created entirely by an AI. And if you heard the song and saw the wordings, you would have been reminded of the Beatles, because that particular AI engine was actually made to listen to every Beatles song and was trained on Beatles music, and then it created this next Beatles, in a sense, after the Beatles had disbanded, which was this particular song. If you go to Google today and search for AI generated songs, you can probably find thousands and thousands of songs. This was the first or one of the first. And so, you know what? Music, sure, AI can create good music. Let's come to playing games, and most of you are aware of this. On your left is Gary Kasparov, who has just gotten defeated by Deep Blue, which was IBM's near AI kind of computing platform. And then, we know in 2013, a few years back, was the famous time when Deep Blue kind of defeated the World Jeopardy champions. Watson defeated the World Jeopardy champions in this case. And the Jeopardy guys said that they had never played anyone like this before, because Watson defeated them comprehensively. Both of these were probably not AI, and were probably just vast computing power used very well. But then the real thing happened was when a company called DeepMind got created with this new field of AI, which you might be knowing about, called deep learning. What you see is Dennis Hassabis here. And around the same time that the Jeopardy defeat was happening, Hassabis and team taught an AI to play Atari. And again, I don't know whether you can see it, but if you can, and there's no audio here, just see what happens. So, this is an AI actually playing this game, which you would have been very, very familiar with. And you see there are 200 training episodes. The AI is playing definitely better than 100 training episodes. And then 400 training episodes where it kind of plays even better. And then this is where it gets intelligence, or it becomes creative. And just see what it does. 600 training episodes. It starts doing something which humans would either never do or take a lot of time to do this. See how it's exploiting this particular way of playing the game, and has managed to kind of defeat humans very, 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 very quickly. So this Atari Breakout was that big thing, and that in fact led to a true AI in that sense, which was AlphaGo. And again, you're aware of it, about how AlphaGo defeated Lee Sedol, the world champion in Go. And why I've put Go here is because Go is supposed to be a creative game, unlike chess. It's not deterministic. It in fact, it supposedly has more moves than there are atoms in the universe. It's a game of territory, and it's very instinctive. It's very human in that sense. It's very subtle. And And no one ever thought that an AI could be creative enough to defeat a human being. And in 2016, I think it did that. And actually in 2019, which is last year, Lee Sedol retired from Go, specifically mentioning that he could not play against and win against the AIs anymore. So playing seems to make sense. And then there was this, which is debating, and this is this picture that you see, and there's a video which accompanies it, which I'm going to play, if you can hear it.
Greetings, Harish. I've heard you hold the world record in debate competition wins against humans, but I suspect you've never debated a machine. Welcome to the future. I'd argue that we should subsidize preschools. We are going to talk about financial issues, but not only about them. In the current status quo, we accept that the question of subsidies goes.
So what you see here is that black thing with the nice voice is actually Watson debating engine or Watson debater. And the gentleman on the right is actually Harish Natarajan, who is considered to be one of the best debaters of all time. And they debated live, and the topic was given to both of them 20 minutes before the debate started. And what you see was that in 20 minutes, Watson kind of marshaled all the arguments. It was about some school fee subsidy or something, put everything together and started debating with Harish. And at the end of it, actually this time the human won. But possibly I believe that also happened because the jury was all human. And so we saw that AI can paint, AI can play music, AI can play creative games, and now suddenly we are saying AI debating. So if we are kind of seeing all of these things happening, so does that mean that AI can be creative? Okay, as I said, creativity is something which is untaught. A creative adult, they say, is the child who survived. Creativity is intelligence, having fun. All these different plays of imagination and creativity can AI do or cannot do. And look, there's a vast field of research on this, but what I'm going to kind of come to, and my last part of the presentation in a sense, is I'm going to quote two eminent people here, Marcus du Sautoy, whom I've already referred to, and Margaret Boden, who's another very acclaimed researcher, also in the UK, I think again in the University of Oxford. And Margaret Boden actually talked about three types of creativity. She said that, look, the first one is what is called exploratory creativity. Something, you take something what is already there and you extend the limits of what is known, but you're still bound by certain rules. So if you see these paintings on the left, these are, kind of creative paintings. These are not normal paintings, but they're still paintings in that sense. And 97% of human creativity, according to her, is this kind of creativity. And because there are certain rules in exploratory creativity, mathematics and computers revel in this kind of creativity. They really do it well. The second kind of creativity, which is much lesser, maybe 2.5% of humans have it well, is called combination creativity, where you take two different things, totally different fields, and you connect the dots and you kind of take the best of both and make stuff happen. So, if you take music and you take, so for example, what you see here is the architecture of a very famous architect called Zaha Hadid. And Zaha Hadid used to create her buildings based on certain paintings, which, she had a favorite artist, and how to kind of take elements of that paintings and create these kind of curve flowing buildings. AI has started doing this, and AI is good for this because AI is very good to combine stuff, and therefore algorithms combining blues and Bach, for example, the Beatles song that you heard. And so this is the second kind of creativity. And the third kind, which very, very few human beings have well, but it's a human trait, is what is called transformational creativity. It is about, all physics happening and suddenly Einstein coming in and saying that all physics was wrong. There's a completely new kind of physics, which is quantum physics. Okay, or someone thinking of square roots of -1 and creating imaginary numbers, or Picasso creating these paintings which no other painter could create. And so this kind of creativity, so far at least, is very much a human domain. And so can AI be creative? It can, according to these authors and according to a bunch of experts. Exploratory creativity, a lot of them can do well. Combinational creativity, some of it can happen. Transformational creativity, so far at least, until maybe singularity happens, is very, very much a human domain. And so you'll see a lot of creativity coming from AI, but we will still not see this amazing theory of relativity kind of creativity coming in. Will it ever be more creative than humans? Maybe, with storage, with parallel computing, with memory, with everything. But I still think that there's this little thing which humans have, which AI would never have. For example, this is a famous one which you would have seen. So look, I'm not going to go through this. I'm not necessarily going to go through this. Some of you would have seen this, but for me to describe it to you, there's this guy, an artist, a creative artist in Germany, who actually just wheeled along this wheelbarrow filled with about 35, 40 Android and Apple phones, Android phones. And as he wheeled them around the empty streets of Berlin, by the way, this was pre-virus era, there were still some empty streets in Berlin. As he kind of wheeled them through, the Google Maps on all mobile phones were starting to turn red wherever the guy was wheeling them through, because the Google algorithm actually talks about actually is based on how many Android phones are there in a particular area, and suddenly 35, 40 Android phones appearing on this road fooled the AI system to believe that there was lots of traffic here. And so I think there's this element, which I think this kind of a mischievous element, this kind of a jugaad element, this kind of a hacking element, which I don't think AI will get for a very, very, very long time. And so, based on that, a bunch of people have predicted as to what kind of jobs will survive, what kind of jobs will not survive. Kai-Fu Lee, who's another big AI savant out of China, basis this has said that, look, non-creative jobs will go to AI. For some of the creative jobs, it will be either humans augmenting AI or AI augmenting humans. But then there'll be certain jobs. He's put these 10 jobs which are super creative, which require concern, which require love, which require compassion, which AI will never get. And therefore, these kind of jobs are the ones which will always remain with human beings. And finally, just to complete, I had talked about 5 different things. I talked about 5 different manifestations of AI, and I covered 4 of them. The 5th one of them is writing. And as Marcus de Sautoy says here, that he was surprised that actually of all these 5, writing was the most difficult for an AI to do. It was the most creative human skill. And Marc de Sautoy himself in his book actually had a little paragraph hidden in the book, which was actually created by an AI. And of the hundreds of thousands of people who have read the book, no one has been able to yet figure out that which paragraph was created by the AI. If you see my book, and I know I'm flogging it, but if you see my book on the left, this little green band is actually a chapter on AI written by an AI. So it was the first time in publishing history that happened. And, it was just so difficult to make it happen. And beyond difficult, if you read this chapter, which is chapter 13 in my book, and compare it with chapter 12, which is also a chapter on AI, but is written by a human being, in this case, me, you will find that, to our great comfort, that there's a great, great, great difference in quality, in soul, in emotion, in just beauty, the way a human being writes and an AI writes. And so we still have hope, at least in our lifetime, that human beings will continue to be more creative than AI, though at one point of time, possibly AI will catch up. So I wanted to stop here and see if you had any questions, and how did you like it, and I hope you could see some of the videos, etc. there.
Yes.
So thank you very much, Santosh.
Yes, thank you so much. You can stop sharing the screen, Jaspreet, and then quickly. Okay, Jaspreet, you have 30 seconds per question. There's 2 questions from Upendra at the question section. If you can click on the right-hand side, questions. Yeah. 30 seconds for each question. Please be quick.
Well, if I know the answers, that is right.
Definitely.
Yeah. So look, I have Upendra, the first question, I didn't even understand your question. I'm sorry. So I'm not going to address that. The second one, personalized stories getting created with plots and endings customized. Yeah, sure, I think so. Though, as I told you, and it's kind of happened. People have tried it in a few TV episodes, etc. But they have not yet been personalized to a single human being, and most of them have been done by human beings. Algorithms doing that will happen, I believe, and we are going to start seeing those shows. When, I don't know. Uh, any interesting developments on emotional intelligence and empathy with AI, Upendra? I don't know. To be honest, I haven't studied that. I think both emotional intelligence as well as empathy is still an area, and one of the guys you should follow and read in that is actually the gentleman I referred to, Kai-Fu Lee, and he explores that a lot in his book. It's still an area which is far away, and that's why some of the empathy and compassion jobs will still be human. I'll take the last one, Santosh, which is that at a high level, what kind of efforts went into getting the AI writer chapter in the book? I'm taking that because it's my book. Okay, I teamed up with a company called Findability Sciences, Yagna, which I'm on the advisory board of. It's a Boston-based AI shop. They got super excited by this. We worked together for 7-8 months. Created, I will not call it anything else. Created a hack, okay, an AI bot, which we fed about 50,000 on a logic. So for the logic, you need to buy my book. The first 2 chapters of chapter 13 actually explain exactly how it was done, and it was not like just a pretend thing. And when I fed it about 30, 40,000, 50,000 pages of stuff on AI from Wikipedia and a bunch of such places, and it actually created this 37-page chapter, very boring chapter. But that's how we did it. And for more details, you'll have to read it in my book. Back to you, Santosh.
Sure. Thank you so much, Jaspreet. Thank you so much for being here. Audience, I think it was an interesting presentation for sure. I think everyone, and we did hear the audio as well, Jaspreet, just to put it to you. So it was really good. Thank you so much. Very encouraging stuff. And then for me, for the audience, I don't know about any other techie people. I was a techie, but I think my job is a creative job of community building. So I think it's not going to go to AI. What do you say, Jaspreet? Yeah.
It depends on how good you are.
Oh, again, it comes back to an individual. Thank you so much, Jaspreet. Thank you for your time. And then any other questions which has not been answered, we're going to collect all those things, share it with Jaspreet, and he's going to answer through the team out here. Thank you so much. So please hang on at social media. We are back to start the next session in a few minutes. Thank you.